The last video I made was a productivity video called How to Make Yourself Do It 100% Success Rate. And if you haven't seen that video yet, you should, because here are the comments. Right, I never lie to you. But we're all human here, so I did anticipate that some of you would instead leave comments like this. And I was right. So in the end of that video, I preemptively stated that my next video would be what to do when none of those tips actually worked for you. And what did I just say? Right, I never lie to you. So if you identify as the stubborn, negligible 0.01% of people for whom nothing ever works, if you have tried every trick in the book and you still find yourself struggling to make yourself do the things that you want to do, then you made it to the right video this time. It's not hard, it's not impossible. We just have to hit it from a different angle. That's fine. Relax. I got you. How to make yourself do it when nothing else works. Here's the syllabus. Go get your pen because we're starting right away. Number 1. Why you tell me it doesn't work. The last video, if you haven't paused and watched it yet, goes like this. This is a really quick recap of what you missed. Number 1, forgive yourself. That's where we always start. Number 2, understand that these habits are really hard to break. Forgive yourself again. There's a lot of forgiveness that needs to happen here. Number 3, intentionally break your old habits by taking inventory, making a plan, and then setting yourself up for success in your new habits. And number 4, make it as easy as possible for yourself to do your new habits by any means necessary. That's the basic gist of it, and you're not going to get it from just those 4 little statements alone. But here are some of the examples that I use to further illustrate my points. If you want to run every day and you don't like doing laundry, shower with your clothes on. If you want to start reading instead of scrolling on your phone, leave the book open on top of your charger so that every time you go to charge your phone, you have to pick up the book. And if you want to sleep earlier and lower your screen time, just leave your phone in a different room before you go to bed. And some of you responded exactly how I knew you would, because it's exactly how I would have responded before I realized that I had to change my life no matter what. The response is this: that might work for you, but I'm built different. I would simply not do it, usually with a laughing crying emoji. Now, if you don't want to change your life, then that's fine. That's funny, and we're all laughing. Thank you very much for watching my video. Thank you very much for commenting, and I wish you a long lifetime of happiness. Sidebar on happiness, and listen, because this is really important. I'm serious. People leave me comments all the time telling me that I'm being unrealistic and telling me all of the reasons why they could never follow their dreams. But here's the thing. You don't gotta explain it to me, baby. You don't have to explain it to anybody. I actually don't think it's a requirement for people to change their lives, to follow their dreams, to shoot for the moon and land among the stars, or whatever else it is that you think that I want you to do. That's not what I want you to do. If you're happy, I'm happy for you. This is your one and only life, and you deserve to do whatever you want with it, including nothing. If nothing is your choice, then there's nobody on earth who could judge you for that. I will staunchly defend your right to do nothing. Make a choice. You can always make a different one later, but every choice you make is a diverging path through which you have chosen your own life. If nothing is your intentional choice, I support you 100%. If you already know what you like, you won. That in itself is living a kind of dream. So don't ever let somebody else make you feel less for doing what you want to do with your own fucking life. It's yours. You don't have to explain anything to me. I'm on your side. But if you do want to change your life, and if this is actually a cry for help, as it is for most of you, then this is where I get you straight, okay? I told you it wasn't going to be hard. It's not hard. And I've already done the hardest parts for you, so you have nothing to worry about. When I tell people that this is all it takes to get to your dreams, the first question they usually ask me is, but how do you make yourself do it? I always just give up. First lesson, watch how you talk about yourself. Becoming a new person is an instantaneous decision. You want to be different? Boom, you're different. And now every time you talk, act, think like your old self, you go back to being your old self. You want to be different? Be different. Stand on it. Back it up. Fight for it. It will be hard at first as you adjust to what it feels like to be a new person. But every time that you choose your new self, it gets easier and easier to be your new self. This is what people mean when they say fake it till you make it. So you're not the type of person who just gives up anymore. So stop saying that about yourself. Now you're the type of person who does it. You're the type of person who figures out how to make yourself do it. If that's enough, if that's what you needed, you can leave now. Sometimes all you need is a person to tell you they believe in you, and I do. But if it's not enough, then listen up, because this is where we get serious. Number 2, why it actually doesn't work. I'm going to tell you a secret about yourself. And you will not find this secret mentioned in any other productivity video that you ever watch, because this secret does not come from the world of productivity. It comes from a very different place, a well-connected place. But I told you that we were gonna have to get this one from a different angle. So this one comes in sideways, okay? You're gonna have to trust me. There are 3 of you. There's a lot more than 3 of you actually, and we've touched on this in other videos, so I'm gonna keep it brief. But the 3 of you that we're dealing with today are the dreamer, the doer, and the facilitator. And you can think of these 3 aspects of the self as you, your shoulder angel, and your shoulder devil. If that doesn't work for you, that's fine. Maybe you can think of them as these clones from Jimmy Neutron when he splits himself into a bunch of different guys. Whatever. However you have to imagine it, imagine 3 of you with very different agendas. Now you may be meeting these people for the very first time, but I'm not. So allow me to introduce you to yourself. Number 1, the dreamer. You know this man. When I said his name, you probably thought of him right away. You are intimately familiar with this man. He's probably your favorite. When you sit there and you watch these videos and you think about all of the things that you could possibly do with your life, that's dreamer in the driver's seat. When you fantasize about who you want to be, what you want to do, where you want to go, that's dreamer in the driver's seat. He's the one who sits down at the table and makes his big long list of goals, his 10-year plan to get you exactly where you want to be. Dreamer wants a trip to Thailand, or maybe a 4-car garage, or maybe the 311 cruise with Jeff Rosenstock that's sailing out of Miami in March. Got it? Okay, put a pin in it. Number 2, the doer. Now you know this man too because you see him every single day. When you turn the TV off and go put your laundry in the dryer, that's the doer. When you go for a run, go to therapy, take your meds, get your 15 minutes of vitamin D, wear your sunscreen, cross items off of your to-do list, that's the doer. Now when you sit on the couch and scroll on your phone for 6 hours on your day off, that is also the doer. The doer is the one who is doing. Got it? Okay, put a pin in it. Number 3, the facilitator. Now, this one is tricky. I very much doubt you have ever seen this man in your life. It took me a very long time to find him myself, and believe me, I was looking for him. The reason you've never seen this man is because he is very, very quiet, and because he works in the background, and he works hard. He works very, very hard. Some of you call this man by a different name. A lot of you call him I, because he's so quiet that you think his thoughts are your thoughts. When you say, I can't make myself do anything I want, this is the I you're talking about. When you say, I always give up, this is the I you're talking about. RuPaul fans may call this man the inner saboteur. He is not your inner saboteur. He is the facilitator. His job is to make sure that you execute your plan. The reason that you keep telling me you can't make yourself do it is because so far you have prioritized the needs of the doer over the needs of the dreamer, and the facilitator has no choice but to execute your plan. I know you don't understand. Allow me to explain. Each of these 3 guys that we just talked about has their own internal goals and motivations. The dreamer is motivated by frustration. He looks around at his environment and says, this isn't what I want. I want a better life. I don't want to live like this anymore. His goal is change. If it were always up to him, you would do whatever you had to do to make sure you got that change. But it is not always up to him, because the dreamer is around very rarely, only when you are dreaming. Most of the time you are dealing with the doer, and the doer is motivated by ease. The doer is the version of you that shows up and has to do the work. The dreamer is not clocking in. The doer is. And when the doer is working, which is 90% of the time, he is working alone. There's no one there to watch him. So the dreamer sets him up with this big long list of goals, and the dreamer is not going to help. And he has to do all that work by himself. Does that feel fair to you? Because it doesn't feel fair to him. The dreamer and the doer are in direct opposition with each other. One of them wants you to work hard and achieve your goals. The other one has to do the hard work, and he's not even getting paid, because who benefits when you get your goals? 2 people, the dreamer and you, not the doer, baby. He still has to do more work. If you achieve all of your goals, then the doer still has to do all the daily tasks that he's already doing, plus usually more. And the days don't get any shorter for him. He still has to fit it all in. And we're not even going to talk about all of the neuroscience and psychology that shows your brain's active resistance to change. And I do mean physical, active resistance to change. Your brain does not like change. It doesn't feel safe for you. Don't feel bad about that. That's not personal failure. That's biology. But for our purposes, you need to know that that basic scientific fact is working against you too. Your brain doesn't want you to change. It wants you to keep doing the same safe things that you've been doing all along. You made it this far in your life, so your brain assumes that what you've been doing is what's keeping you alive. If you consider yourself to be barely alive, if you're struggling, if you think that you're not even living, that's not your brain's problem. It's the dreamer's and yours. That's why I tell you, you have to make it as easy as possible for yourself. Do you get it now? You will try to get out of the work. It's not your fault. It's natural and normal. Of course you can't make yourself do it. These are insane working conditions. So the dreamer isn't clocking in. He isn't sharing the load. He isn't making it equitable. He can't. That's not his job. The doer is doing the work, and if he is motivated by ease, and if his goal is also ease, then what do you think is going to happen next? Right, the same thing that you tell me always happens. You give up. So you give up. You scroll your phone, you watch TV, or maybe you even clean the house instead. Maybe you reorganize all the closets. Maybe you finish a painting that you've been meaning to finish. Those are all productive things. But what you needed to do was make a dentist's appointment. And now it's been 6 months. And for 6 months, you and the doer have been cleaning, painting, and reorganizing and struggling with the fact that though you are technically being productive, your life is not getting materially better in any way. That's what happens when you ignore what you have to do. But you are forgetting that you have a third person here, a very quiet person who's easy to forget. And because you don't know that, you are making a critical mistake. The facilitator's motivation is to help you. That's it. His goal is to make sure that whatever you need to get done, it gets done. If you don't regularly check up on your own internal programming, if you don't call the dreamer in and get your goals realigned every year, every month, every week, every day, then your facilitator runs on autopilot. He can only help the doer, and the doer wants to weasel out of the work. I laugh, by the way, because once I figured out that that's what was going on with me, I had no choice but to laugh. Laugh or cry, right? All those years of self-sabotage, and it was never self-sabotage at all. It was misallocated resources. And that is an easy fix. Let me show you in real time. Number 3, how to fix it. You want to be a comic book artist. Your dreamer has already sat down and figured out exactly how to get you there. By now you have your outline and your script. You know who your dream publisher is. You know when you want to get the book finished by. Those are dreamer activities. And let's say the dreamer has already broken this down into its smallest possible steps. He concludes that the smallest step is finish 1 comic book page a day. That'll get you there. Now he hands that list to the doer, and maybe doer does that task for 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. But the doer is motivated by ease, and sticking to a schedule is not easy work. It is boring with very little reward. And there are plenty of things around the doer right now that are easier, take less time, and have bigger immediate rewards. The doer could be out there right now having a snack or bonding with his cat or playing Mario Party or going and drinking out at the bar with his friends. All of those things are so much easier and more fun than making a comic book page a day. The doer knows that, so he says, I don't want to do this. Now the facilitator hears the doer clearly, and his only goal and motivation is to help. So he says, you don't want to do this. Well, I know how we can not do it. Just take a break, a little break. Just do 2 pages tomorrow, or better yet, let's take a bigger break. Let's skip the work entirely this week and do double next week. It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. But it's not fine, because the goal was never the pages. The goal was to finish a page a day. Because at the end of the last video, I told you, and write this down, that action creates agency, agency creates confidence, confidence creates momentum, and momentum crushes fear. Fear is the thing that gets in the way of you accomplishing your goals. You get over that fear by blindsiding it, by steamrolling it, by crushing it under the 20-ton force of your own unstoppable momentum. A CalArts story teacher once told me that if a train is coming at you at 200 miles per hour, then you have to start running towards the train. Because if the train hits you from a standstill, you're dead. But if you hit that train at top speed, then somehow by some miracle of the gods, you may phase through the train and come out the other side. And if you don't, then at least you weren't standing still. So your one small daily act is not done for the goal of getting the thing done. It's done for the goal of creating a habit. The habit is the important part. The habit is you running at top speed. Once you have successfully built a habit, you have successfully built discipline. That discipline is a resource that you can now use to build more habits and longer habits, harder habits, and more involved habits until finally you have all of the confidence and momentum that you need to achieve all your dreams. No sweat, no question, and no choice but to succeed. That's what we're aiming for. It's not hard. It's only scaring you. Listen, it's not hard. It's scaring you. Your brain doesn't want to change. It does not feel safe. But every time that your facilitator helps your doer to weasel out of the work, you make it easier to weasel out of the work. You make it easier to weasel out of that potential energy for yourself and to weasel out of the life that you want to build. So do you see now how important it is to follow your tiny little steps? Then stop sending me laughing emojis. Because now that you see that this small, little, daily action that you joke about skipping out on is the single most important thing to turn you into the person you always dreamed that you could be, then that's it. That's all you have to do. Just this tiny, tiny, tiny little thing that scares you. Don't tell me you can't make yourself do it. Just don't do it. If it's not that important to you, don't. But if it is, do. Now that potential should motivate you enough to give you your own Mario Star, which you can then use to set up your new routines. And I explain exactly how to do that in my last video. For some of you, that's all you needed, just a little bit more of explanation to get you into gear. But if that's not enough for you, then that's okay. You just need to ask for help. Chapter 4, Advanced Tricks. Dreamer dreams, doer does, facilitator helps. Move him to the other side. It's that simple. Tattle, rat, sell somebody out. Your dreams are important to you, right? Then it's time to squeal. Everything that we've been talking about for the past 10 minutes is things that I've heard other people simplify down as remember your why. If that works for you, then good for you. But I personally think that's stupid because my doer does not care about my why. Remembering my why. Do it for all of the people out there that you could help. Do it for your 12-year-old self who dreamed about doing it someday. Do it to set up your future self and your future kids and your future blah, 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 blah. None of that has ever worked for me because when I'm in doer mode, I couldn't care less about the future. When I'm in doer mode, I care about my short-term satisfaction. I'm busy doing. And now the choice is to make a comic page or to make a frozen pizza. Only one of those choices ends with me eating a pizza. That is an obvious choice. So when I notice that I'm going to that place, and it's me who notices, me, not any of these guys, but the original Jimmy, when I notice that I'm getting to that place, I don't wait. I don't hesitate. I turn myself in. I don't want to write my YouTube video. My facilitator says we could just clean up instead. The dreamer can't be mad at us. It's not procrastinating, that's being productive. But wait, I don't want to write my YouTube video, but I want the YouTube play button, don't I? I don't want to make my comic page a day, but I want the Eisner, don't I? I want to be in the Comics Hall of Fame, don't I? I want money. I want a TV show. I want to fly first class. I want to feed my friends. I want to sit front row at Maison Margiela Fall and Winter 2029, don't I? And right now the doer is standing in my way. So what can I do to make sure that I get the YouTube play button and the Eisner and the invitation to New York Fashion Week 2029? I say, facilitator, I need your help. And his only goal is to help me. Now this is where the trickery comes in. And for free right now, I will teach you my #1 trick to anything. Make it small. I happen to be a person who has time blindness. Time blindness is just like regular blindness. A seeing person can describe a flower by sight. A non-seeing person probably cannot. A person who is not time blind knows what 5 minutes feels like. A person who is time blind probably does not. So I have this. They're not sponsoring me. It's a visual timer. You can get it anywhere online. What I do is I set my timer to 5 minutes and suddenly I can see. Look how small that fraction of time is. I can do anything for 5 minutes. I can write a script, I can clean the house, I can hang my clothes, I can brush my teeth, I can do a hard set at the gym. 5 minutes is nothing. It's less than half a SpongeBob episode. I know, I timed it. And you guessed correctly, this is a trick. because 9 times out of 10, you will not stop at 5 minutes. So keep the sound off on your visual timer, because 9 times out of 10, it will interrupt you right as you're starting to get into the flow of your work. And then 5 minutes can turn into 10, which turns into 30, which turns into 60. And now before you know it, you're on a roll and the job is already done. See, what you're doing here is you are overriding your executive function. Executive function is a set of skills managed by your prefrontal cortex, something which some of us struggle with more than others. Executive function, amongst other things, is the thing that you use to help you transition tasks. From playing video games to working, from sitting to running, from playing on your phone to making yourself a nutritious meal. Sometimes it's just hard to start. This is what helps you start. Remember when I said skill? You can build it. And in the meantime, you can hack it. You can fake it till you make it. You can just set a timer. Now, some days you will stop at the 5, and that's okay. That's allowed. You said you'd let yourself off the hook, so do. Because once doer is done with his 5 minutes of work, you will have 5 minutes of work, which is 5 more minutes than you would have done if you'd let him make the pizza instead. It's win-win. It may not seem that way to you, but it is, because you got something done today. Forward momentum achieved. Success. Don't look at the size. Stack that success up over multiple days. It does not matter how small the snowball is to start. It will get bigger as it rolls downhill. Remember that every journey begins with a single step. Remember that momentum crushes fear, and celebrate. Because 5 minutes is so hard when you didn't want to do it at all. You fought against your brain and you won. Congratulations. Celebrate. Do not skip that step. This is how you build trust with yourself, showing up for just a little bit at a time. The Rock himself says that a person who wants to get in shape for the first time in their life should not start by working out. They should start by reading a magazine at the gym and then going home. Remember, I told you at the top of the video that your brain actively resists change. Starting small is not weak and it's not embarrassing. It is effective strategy. You don't believe me? How do you think he started? And what do you think his habits are like now? Exactly. And there are so many more tricks just like this one to keep in your pocket for when you need them. One of my very favorites of all time is that I listen to the same song or the same album on repeat to help me lose track of time and get deeper into flow state. I animated my entire 4th year film while listening to the album Sprained Ankle by Julian Baker. Don't pick that album. It's very sad. I cried a lot, but it works. Another trick that I swore by was I would make a big pile of snacks to sit next to me while I studied so that I would learn to associate studying with dopamine. Did I gain a lot of weight that year? Yes. Did I graduate at the top of my class that year? Yes. See, I don't care about gaining weight if it gets me what I want. If I want to change later, I can change later. Remember what I said. Make a choice now, you can make another one down the line. Remember what I said. Accomplish your goals by any means necessary. My last little trick is a variation on the 5-minute trick. I just race myself to see how fast I can do something. And I have a very specific version of that trick that only works on a very, very specific and small group of people. But you already are a very, very specific and small group of people, the 0.01% for whom nothing else works. So maybe this will work for you. When I was in my early 20s and my shit was a lot less together than it is now, I sometimes lived in abject squalor. And when things got really bad, I learned pretty quickly that I could eat a special kind of candy and then speed run the cleaning process. And by the time that I felt the effects of the candy, I was done cleaning, but I had already done a lot of cleaning. It's a game with a built-in reward and it can be played over multiple days. Now, that might not work for everybody. That might not even work for a lot of you, but it will work for some of you. And like I said, by any means necessary, and I really do mean any. You can use different tricks for different things, and I do suggest you experiment and find your own. But our main through line, the biggest thing to remember here, is that when you notice that you are tempted to give up, you do not brute force your way through with insults, threats, and physical harm. Not only does this feel like pulling teeth, but it also erodes your trust with yourself over time, and it makes it harder and harder to listen to yourself. So instead of doing all that, we just switch tracks and approach from a different angle, just like we did here today. And many of you will have noticed by now that this is how you manage toddler development, and it's also how you train a dog. And what are you, my friend, if not an overgrown toddler? And what are you if not an animal to be trained? Now, the most important part of this process is noticing. And noticing is also a skill that you build over time. If you made it to the end of this video, you almost definitely already know how to improve your skill at noticing. But just in case you don't, allow me to remind you. Mindfulness, meditation, practice. Now, I'm not here to convince you and I'm not here to sell you shit. There is one answer to the question of how do you get better at noticing, and the one and only answer is mindfulness. It's up to you what you do with that information. But if you choose not to do it, then good luck, because I promise you, you will need it. I choose to meditate every single day because I choose to live my life on easy mode. You choose your heart, right? The heart of building a new habit, which gets so much less hard over time, or the heart of living a life that you know you're not meant to live, which gets harder and harder and harder with every passing day. So how do I make myself do it? I always just give up. Well, I hope you found the answer to your question. And if there's one thing that I've learned over the years, it's that I can lead a horse to water, but I would never, ever, 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 ever try to make you drink. But you're curious, right? So take a sip. What's 5 minutes gonna hurt?